jumping around. Okay, I start with the events, and then I talk about the event propagation, and suddenly I talk about the closure, because closure will always be used. Okay, you can avoid it as long as you don't write ES6. If you write ES6, you can have some ways to avoid using closure, but when you download some code from GitHub, okay, you can avoid. Some examples, even you're using jQuery, you may need it. So the differences between these two codes, okay, maybe you don't, I didn't go through it, right? So last time I go through a main example. Now this example is just beginning to tell you that, well, actually we can return a function by calling a function like this, okay? So this is the init function. Now I'm not really returning the function, but inside there is a function. I can define it there, give it the name. So it's name function, not an anonymous function. And then I call it within that function scope of init. No problem. But what I'm going to show you is actually this inner function called display name can access, just like access a global variable, access the name variable inside the scope of init. And you know that this is perfectly fine, right? Then I modify this example a bit and change it in this way. So what is this way? This way is from the execution point of view, you will see that, okay, I execute this so-called make function. So this make function is returning a function. And why I return a function? Just to demonstrate what is the meaning of having what we call a closure. The name variable, yeah, you can see there's no name variable. The name variable seems to be how can you define this, right? When you execute the scope, okay, I know that once I have this function set up and I return, I call this function at this last line, I should get the name Mozilla. But you cannot explain this. Let's imagine that we are running C program. Let's say this is a C program. You change every syntax, make sure that it is fine. But from the point of view of a C program, you never success in doing so. Why? Because having this function here, what is the scope of this name? Right? When you write a C function, the scope of the name must become a local variable of the inner functions or a global. Right? If it's a global variable, this is fine, right? I move this var name equal to Mozilla outside this make function, perfectly fine. For C, this example won't work. And for Java, it works in the following. What happened to me? It's out of speech. Okay, so let's execute. No problem. It says Mozilla. Okay, so it seems that well, some interesting thing happened when I return a function to the outside world. Actually, the thing that you receive is not just the function code. In terms of C, it is a function pointer. But in terms of JavaScript, it's not a function pointer only. Okay? It seems to be including the variable that this function wants to access. Okay? Now, this time is a static part here. So, because the name is static. Static in the sense that it won't change. I don't mean a static variable. It's static, I won't change anything. So you can think that, maybe this name variable, once I return it outside, it is being replaced by the string Mozilla. Okay? But if you think of this example in this way, then you cannot explain this. You cannot explain this example, okay? So this example, I use the code changing the numbers inside the inner HTML. And what is this tab? This tab is a div. Okay, the div component, I insert the I there. Now the I is kind of like previous example, right? Why I say that it's like the previous example. Previous example, the display name, you can see the display name here. Hey, where is it? Come on. Where? Oh, here. Okay. The display name is a variable of a function that you call, and after you call that function, you will return this name function. Okay. No matter if it's named or anonymous function, it's just fine. Okay, just a function that we want to return. Now, in this example, you see that I do the same thing. Okay, this is the function that I call init, and the variable var I is also the temporary variable for this function. Now, when I put this here, as if I copy the value to this location, and so that when you set up this, what is that? Add event listener. This is the event handler. Okay, this is a handler function. Once you have a click on this box, you will drive this function, and this true or false doesn't matter because this true or false is the propagation direction of the event. Now, last time we stopped at this page and say that this program sucks. Really bad. Okay, when I click on whatever box you have, it's actually define, okay, defining what I just said for the display name function. The display name function has a name copy to the location that you call, but actually it's not. It's not copying the name. Just copying the value. By the time you set up this function, right? When I set up this function, I say that, hey, I is supposed to be 0 because here is a proof. Temp equal to inner HTML equal to I. Here is changing, so the proof is I have I value changing from 0 to 3, and here should be 0 to 3 as well. But what? But the result doesn't match. Okay? And some people already guessed the answer. The answer is, it seems that there is a pointer, yeah, C pointer, okay, pointing to the I variable. Okay? So the I variable here is not copying the value here. And as if a pointer pointing to here, okay, and this var I originally is what we call a temporary variable or local variable. Now it's never vanish, never go away. Why I said it's never go away? It's horrible stuff here is once you set up this function, and this function will take the environment that he needs. So the environment that he needs, including the E, but the E is being passed outside. E, what is E? Is an event object. Here is the I variable that associated with this function. This will be setting up a relationship just like a pointer reference, or in C++ reference, or just become an object reference, so and so forth. Now, how to make this program works in the sense that when I click on the box 0, I want to output 0, but I don't want to output 4. When I click on the box 2, I want to output 2. I want to do the following. I want this association now, I don't want it to be the variable I. How about I set up a separate piece of variable for this guy? Okay? So this no longer is I do it 4 times. Create 4 different variables for this function to associate to. Just not one functions, using pointer, 4 functions actually. 4 functions using pointer to point to the same guy. But 4 different functions, they have their own copy of data so that you won't get anything wrong. So this is also the abuse, okay? I am being cheated by these skills, this what we call the cluster concept. The cluster is a function associated with the variable together. They call it the cluster environment. I abuse this by setting up 4 different variables, and the code is this one. Okay, so what is this code? How can I guarantee that this code can produce 4 different variables for me? No problem. The problem is actually another abuse. Let me scroll down a bit. How can I scroll down without this naughty guy pop up? Okay, so let me scroll down a bit. Good. Okay, so let's take a look. The focus is this line. Okay, so what is this line? This line is, can you see the function here? The function here is the start, and here is the end. Okay, actually this year you treat it as an event call. Okay, actually I can skip this E, no problem. I go for this function and immediately I invoke it. So why I invoke it? Why I execute it? Because once you execute this function, okay, once you execute this function, you will first create a variable called, while I'm running, okay, you will create this variable called count, okay, and this count is being created, and you assign the value of I into the count. Understand this concept? Now, take a look here. Although it's just like the previous function setup, but the association is now with the count, not with the I. After this function return, this inner function, I call it inner function, you return the inner function. So the inner function environment setup is no longer associated with I but count, and count is always bind to the same value because you execute this function. Okay? The main point is the execution. You have execute this guy so that you create this guy. And this is a separate piece of variable. Understand what I mean? Any problem? This is the most important of all. Okay? And later on you will see I use this a lot. Okay? This is most important of all. Okay? So any problem? Or anybody have already heard of this? No one. No one. Okay. So when I execute this, then it will become 0, 1, 2. Okay? So because the association now is with the count, and the main point is I execute it. Okay, so this is example number 1. Now, I give you another brain damaging example, really brain damaging. Okay, so this is example number 1. Brain damaging example number 2. What is the output? Yeah, I give you 2 minutes. Tell me what is the output. Yeah, the name already tells you something, huh? Then what is the output? Are they the same when I click on the 4 boxes? You think they're not the same? Yeah, if it is an interview question, then you all die, okay? Usually interview is like this code is already put on JS Fiddle, then you execute once and say, oh, that is, and you are going to explain this. Oh, really? All 3 platforms giving 3 different answers? Oh my god. Okay. So, yeah, what is this? Is it the same as the previous correct example? No. It's not correct. It's not the same as correct example. The reason is this guy, what is that? I already give a name here. It's an object. Previous example is just an ordinary variable. And the assignment here is done by copying value, right? But JavaScript is a crazy language. You set it up as an object here. This is an object initializer, okay? So the object is done, the assignment is done by the copying reference. Yeah, copying reference. So what is the meaning? The meaning is this count is actually using reference. You create 4 different reference variables, but all 4 references point to the same object. So the answer will be okay, the answer wrong here will be not 4, sorry, it's 3. It's 3. And then second box also 3. Okay, because the last time I assigned the value to the object value field, what is that? 0, 1, 2, 3. The last time is 3. Okay? So, this is about culture. Now, why I tell you about culture? Because culture allows you to duplicate or borrowing the concept that you have learned. Let's say you have learned the very famous book of design pattern. They teach you about C++, how to write design pattern using C++, or you already know how to write a factory singleton in Java. The same concept can be realized, but the code is not the same, okay, in JavaScript, but all using Coaster. Okay, so let's take a look how to implement private variable using Coaster. Now, first of all, you have to understand that JavaScript don't have any private variable, right? Once you set up a instance variable called or properties called foo or bar, okay? Once you set it, then every line of code and access it without any problem. How can you set up, let's say that I do a lousy job here. I hate this example, but every book love it. They call it a counter, okay, or a count balance, okay. I don't know who will invent such a bad example. Okay, so this is a private variable called private counter. I don't want any people to touch it. Okay, no one can write a line of code saying that the object called counter dot private counter. I want counter dot private counter is undefined. Okay, but it exists. How? I want to do the following. So what is this? This is the private counter equal to 0. Okay, if you create an object that have a dot private counter, then you can touch it, you can set it without any problem. But how about I use this? This is the crazy stuff. I set up a change by function first of all. The change by function doesn't matter. Okay, I just make it shorter so that you want to increment and decrement all go through the same function. Okay, so what is this function is doing? Only changing the private counter. Okay, so clear? Now what is this syntax? We turn with an open curly braces, closing curly braces. What is this 1, 2, 3? They are all 3 fields of my outputs, and output is an object. Okay? So here means that this syntax is I create an object with field number 1 called increment. Increment is a property, and a property is a function. So method. Public method number 1, public method number 2, public method number 3. They all 3 will touch the private counter, but can you see that I never set up a property called private counter? I don't have any setup of this public property. And whether I can make this 3 code works, let's see the example running. Private version number 1. Let me make it bigger. Okay. Let me make it bigger. Okay, so big enough, So what I'm doing, I just copy this bunch of things, okay, and force this function to execute. So it will execute. Once it's executed, it will set up a relationship. This guy needs the variable that I set up within this function. So what is this function? This function is this guy. This function is this guy. This function has a local variable called private counter. Now there is a pointer relationship between this private counter local variable and the object's properties. Okay? So let's continue to see the example. I will first get the value out. So the value is directly reading the private variable called private counter. Should be okay. Then I do an increment twice. So you will observe that the value should be saying 2. So 0, 2, and here is decrement. At last, I will try to access the private counter to see whether it exists or not. Okay, let's do it. Run. 0, no problem, is the initialization step. Then having 2 increment, 2, no problem. Then decrement once, 1. Last, access of the private variable called private counter, undefined. Okay? Undefined. Very nice. Perfect. Perfect. You love it. I don't think that you won't love it, okay? Because it's kind of a brain damaging. I change all your concept in setting up an object, right? In your mind, setting an object, you need new, right? New object, and an object contains many things. But now I tell you, don't use new. New sucks. You cannot set up any private variable, or if you know culture, then you can. But before this lecture, you don't know. Okay. Now, ask you a thing. What is the thing that I want to ask is, this is the running. How about I do this? What I'm doing? First, I have this counter set up, execute first, and increment it. Okay, and I observe the private counter. That private counter must be undefined. Here is that. So I show it to you. What is this line? What this line means? Counter dot private counter equal 100. Whoa. Start to have major brain damaging. Okay, you think that you don't know how to write JavaScript anymore? Execute this line. What is the change? Of course, there is change. Can I alter the private variable and make this private variable become 100 so that the private counter say 100 and the value also say 100? What do you think? Who think that the counter dot value will say 100? No one. No one thinks it will say 100. So what is the value? Yeah, if I go through the steps, what is the value? Huh? It starts with 0, increment by 1 is 1. Huh? So any further changes? Going through the POPIC method that you export? No. So it should be 1. But there is a dilemma here, a paradox, that we use the same name here. So the battle is when it's 101. Which side will you choose? Or you think that, segmentation fault, that JavaScript engine tricks, okay, breakdown, computer explode, Chrome breakdown. Let's go. Okay, we have something pop up. I clear this. Okay, so we continue the previous schema. So we have a decrement, the new value 0, and then make it become 2 just like previously. We have the example 2, and then decrement by 1, and now it become 1. Then after I make it become 1, I do this. Okay, so you should expect that the first private counter statement says undefined, and then the next will says 100 or 1. Okay, so there's a first question mark, 100 or 1. Second is I increment it again, so it should become 2 or 101. Let's do it. First, 0, perfect. 2, that's the old game, okay? Old game, 2, 1. Now the new game is coming. Undefined. Good. Then I change it into 100. So you guess 100 or 2 or 1 or whatever values. Let's do it. 100, yeah. Yeah, no brain damaging. Okay, now the last task. I call the counter value. I go through the POPIC interface. Shall I touch the POPIC private counter or the private counter? Yeah, I might count getting trouble here. Go. It seems that JavaScript sucks. Okay. It allows me to keep two copy of a private counter. Does it seems to be a big problem? If you understand the concept clear enough, then you think there is no problem. Because the really private guy is a coaster. It's a coaster. Once you set up the function use pointer to pointer there, and it actually doesn't associate with any names. It's just an image. It's just a memory, a piece of memory, pointer by pointer. Okay? So this is the magic done by the coaster mechanism. So the second point is, okay, so this act is actually setting them a new properties. A new properties originally doesn't exist. So when I call it, it is saying that undefined. Now I add a new guy. This is an introduction of a new properties just like previously done. So it's an object member, but this coaster environment doesn't really care because you are not referring it. Okay, so you're not referring it using this dot private counter. If it's this dot private counter, then it's a big trouble. Because you don't know what is this. What is this? This really sucks up. Okay? If you have written a lot of JavaScript or you have written very few jQuery, okay, you don't understand what is this actually. jQuery will give you a lot of this concept, or this dot blah blah blah, this dot blah blah blah. It seems that this referring to an object, but that object, what is it? Here I don't disclose to you yet, okay? Yeah, the time is close. So you can copy and paste my example, put a JS video, try to run this statement, but change the statement into this dot private counter, and you will see what happened. Yeah, then later on, after I go through more things about events, then tomorrow we will talk about some really interesting stuff. The bind call of a JavaScript. Okay, so some people tell me that, okay, how to differentiate a real JavaScript programmer or a so-called JavaScript programmer? Ask two questions. First question, what is coaster? If you don't know how to answer it, kick them away. Second question is, what is bind? Okay, if you know these two answers, then the interviewer will consider you as a okay JavaScript programmer. Okay, not very good, okay? Yeah, okay means that, yeah, you know JavaScript. Actually, if you don't know these two keywords, you don't know JavaScript. Okay, so we finished one of the keyword, and yeah, there are more programs, one or two programs, and then we'll go back to the events, and tomorrow I will also talk about the bind call, what is that, the bind, the map, the filter, the reduce, so on and so forth. The map and the reduce are actually two separate function call. Don't put it together. Map reduce is a trademark, okay?